The courtroom was utterly quiet until Cody Brown pounded his hand on the table and yelled, "You think I did this to you? You were never loyal." In one instant everything changed. The judge's gavel couldn't hold what was about to erupt. Secrets, lies, and one secret tape were about to destroy the Brown family forever. What would you do if a person you trusted your entire life turned around on you in court? Ponder, because that is what is happening here. It started as any other courtroom hearing, hushed murmurs, the sound of paper shuffling, and an oppressive silence pervading the air. But this was no ordinary court fight. Within that Arizona courtroom, it was Judgment Day for a family that had been disintegrating for years. Cameras were forbidden from entering the courtroom, but if they had, this would have been the most explosive moment in Sister Wives history. Cody Brown sat rigidly at the defense table, his jaw clamped in a hard line. His attorney leaned forward, whispering something that only made Cody's brow give a little twitch of annoyance. Across the aisle, Mary glared at him, her face unyielding and unreadable. Beside her, Christine thumbed through a folder, her lips compressed, eyes flashing with anger and loss. Robin was already sobbing, her hands shaking. Everyone was certain that this trial would tell the truth, but no one was prepared for the type of truth that might shatter a family this utterly. The case was Christine, Mary, and Janelle against Cody and Robin Brown. The charges were severe fraud, abuse of family property, and an allegedly lost trust fund. But what truly shocked the courtroom was the reference to a hidden tape that would reveal all. Judge Hammonds, a middle-aged no-nonsense woman, banged the court into order. She wasn't there to witness melodrama, but that's precisely what she was going to see. Cody swallowed. "Your Honor, I'd like to request," she interrupted him harshly. "Brown, you'll talk when I invite you to. Not earlier." Robin flinched and Cody gripped the edge of the table, his knuckles white. Then Mary's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we'd like to present Exhibit A, the original family trust document signed in 2015. As you'll see, all 5 wives were meant to have equal access to the assets if the marriage dissolved." A document scan appeared on the courtroom screen. Cody grimaced, then shook his head in rage. "That's not authentic," he snarled. "It's your signature, Mr. Brown," the judge growled. "And your initials next to each clause." Robin breathed softly. "They have forged it." Christine slapped her hand onto the table. "That's rich from you." The courtroom suddenly descended into chaos. The first witness hadn't been called yet, and already the case was out of control. The heart of it all was a missing $3.2 million money earned from years of television, books, merchandise, and investments. Every record led to one hidden account, and only 2 people had access: Cody and Robin. Christine leaned forward. "We'd like to show the court what Robin said during her video deposition from April 12, 2021. The lights lowered as the fuzzy video showed up on the screen. Robin had been crying, her eyes red and glassy. "I didn't know the account was in my name," she whispered. Cody said it was just a holding vault for tax purposes. The room fell silent. Mary spun to Cody, her voice soft but biting. "You put it in her name. That's what you did with our money." Cody blew up. "I created this family. You think the money materialized out of thin air? I did whatever it took to defend it." The judge banged her gavel. "Brown, one more time and you'll be ejected." Cody glared, his face burning with anger. Then Janelle slowly put up her hand. "Your Honor, I'd like to testify first." Cody's head snapped back. "You can't," the judge cut him off once again. "Enough, Mr. Brown." Janelle rose and walked to the witness stand. Her voice was firm. "I discovered a ledger," she told them. "It was locked in a drawer in our Flagstaff home. It showed all transfers made from the family account from 2018 to 2022. There were more than $700,000 missing." Christine interrupted from the bench. "We have copies." The documents were handed to the judge. Robin spoke tremulously, whispering this never was supposed to happen. Mary then spoke, her tone steady and forceful. "No, Robin. It wasn't. But it did, because you witnessed it." The judge put down the papers. "Tomorrow," she said, "we'll hear witness accounts and the report of the financial auditor. Until then, I recommend you all consider what truth is to you." Court was adjourned. Cody didn't budge. Christine packed up but pushed a sealed envelope across the table toward the clerk. What's that? The judge demanded. Christine locked her gaze. The tape. The room grew quiet. Everyone sensed it, the air changing once more. Whatever was on that tape could ruin everything. The following morning, the courtroom seemed colder, denser, as if everyone had entered with the burden of unspoken guilt. Cameras were still prohibited, but the atmosphere was charged. Every individual in the room sensed something enormity was about to unfold. Christina's sealed envelope, labeled confidential, play in court, rested on the judge's bench like a live grenade. Cody arrived late. His tie was undone, his eyes red. Robin was right behind him, already blotting tears. Mary refused to glance at them. Janelle sat stiffly, hands clasped, eyes fixed on the judge. Something had changed. For the first time, the women weren't standing behind Cody, they were standing against him. Judge Hammonds ordered the court to be called to order. We'll start today by hearing the evidence that was filed yesterday, the confidential tape of Mrs. Christine Brown. Cody's head jerked up. No, he exclaimed suddenly. I object. His lawyer leaned in and whispered urgently, you can't object to something you haven't heard yet. But it was too late. The tape was already in the judge's hands, and whatever was on it was soon going to turn everything around. It's out of context, Cody exclaims, his voice breaking. It's not what it sounds like. The judge's glare intensifies. Brown, are you admitting that you know what's on the tape? The room goes still. Christine leans back, a faint smirk touching her lips. Cody opens his mouth, but the words won't come. I don't know what tape you're referring to, he finally mutters. But it's too late. The damage is done. The judge nods toward the clerk. The USB is inserted, and the speakers crackle to life. A voice fills the courtroom, Cody's. It's unmistakable. I don't care what the trust says, the tape starts out. Move the money. Put it in Nevada. Use Robin's name. They'll never find it if she's the signatory. Mary's name? Fine. Fake it if necessary. The air exits the room. Even the walls are holding their breath. Robin gasps, her hand going to her mouth. Cody leaps to his feet, almost tipping his chair over. That's doctored. He cries. It's a fake. That never occurred. But his voice on the tape goes on, unemotional and calculated. If Janelle inquires, let her know it's for property taxes. Christine won't verify. Mary, just let her know she signed something years ago. They trust you more than me now. Use it. Christine closes her eyes, the sound still biting even though she had anticipated it. Mary clutches the side of the bench, her hands shaking, not to rise but to hold on to keep from falling. All those women in that courtroom at last have evidence. They weren't crazy. They weren't resentful. They were betrayed, totally and on purpose. The judge remains silent. Cody begins to walk back and forth, rage burning within him. This is a setup. He yells. You think I did this? I was looking after what was left. Mary's voice shakes, but her question cuts across the room. Protect what, Cody? The family, the money, or just yourself? Robin stands, tears streaming down her face. Cody, please tell them this isn't true. Tell them we didn't. She cuts off in mid-sentence. She glances over at the court reporter's screen, which shows her the entire transcript of the recording. The words glare up at her. Forge it if you have to. The judge finally addresses the room. This court will be in recess for 30 minutes. Upon our return, I will decide if this matter should be brought to criminal fraud. Gasp runs through the courtroom. The gravity sets in. This is no longer just about money. It's about potential time behind bars. Cody whips out of the room, yanking off his mic and slamming it into a parked car down the street. Within, Robin does not follow him. She remains seated, trembling. She addresses Christine. You waited all these years just to ruin him, she whispers. Christine does not respond. She does not need to. Her eyes say it all. Mary strides by Robin without a look. In the corridor, her voice is cool, level, and final. He ruined himself. The cracks are beginning to appear, and the breakdown has not even started. When court reconvenes, Cody's seat is empty. His lawyer stands stiff and grim. Mr. Brown is unwell and will not be returning today. Christine's attorney nods once. Then we'll proceed with our second piece of evidence. The judge sighs. Continue. Christine steps forward. Your Honor, this one isn't about the money. A new video is playing. The grainy image captures Robin on the phone, her voice biting and annoyed. The voice on the other side of the call is indistinct, but her voice is clear as glass. I don't care what Mary has to say. She forfeited her rights the moment she walked out. If we have to transfer the deed, transfer it. Just sign on her behalf. Mary closes her eyes. It's her land, her name, her legacy. This isn't betrayal, it's theft. And now the judge knows it too. Court will adjourn for the day, Judge Hammond states, her voice firm as stone. Tomorrow we start criminal review procedures. Until then, all family accounts and properties are to be frozen, effective immediately. Gasps are heard. Pandemonium breaks out. Robin attempts to speak, but her words fail beneath the magnitude of it. Christine breathes out, not in relief but in determination. This isn't done. Tomorrow Mary gets on the stand, and she's not holding back. Light from morning pours through the high windows of the courtroom, but it doesn't seem like the start of a new day. It feels like the peace after a storm. On the steps outside, cameras fill the stairs waiting for one woman. When Mary finally enters through the double doors, the commotion ceases instantly. She's wearing dark navy, no makeup, no jewelry, all determination. Her heels clack over the marble as she walks towards the witness stand, holding a thick manila folder and a small silver flash drive. Cody returns. His expression is blank, but his tension gives him away, jaw clenched, fingers tight, eyes flashing between Mary and the judge. Robin sits behind him, ashen and empty. She has cried for hours, but the tears no longer signify. The judge speaks up, Mrs. Brown, do you realize you're sworn in? Yes, Your Honor, Mary answers quietly. Proceed. She sits down, unfolds the folder, and pushes a pile of printed-out emails across the desk. The rustle of paper against wood resounds in the quiet. These, she says, are communications between Cody and Robin, dated May to August 2021. They were received from an account Cody created under the name Johnlands 2020. I had no idea they existed until our old accountant inadvertently forwarded one to me. The judge leans forward. Mary speaks firmly but with a weight of emotion. This one, she indicates the first email, is regarding the transfer of the Coyote Pass deed. It says clearly that Cody wanted the title transferred before I could inquire about my share. Cody's fists clench. Mary's eyes flash on him. You thought I would not notice, she says softly. But I always notice, Cody. The judge motions for the clerk to record the emails into evidence. The room remains quiet with the sound of clicking from the courtroom typist. Mary slowly breathes and picks up the tiny silver flash drive. And this, she says, is what finally destroyed me. Robin whispers something to her attorney, but no one stirs. Even her lawyer seems defeated. Mary goes on, her voice low but steady. It's another recording, one Cody recorded himself. He never intended that anyone was to see it. But during a family recording, I witnessed him drop this drive next to his chair. Mary pauses and goes on. He dropped it in the garage. I stored it. I shouldn't have, but something led me to think that it was important. The judge signals to the technician to play the file. The room dimly brightens as the screen comes to life. For an instant, mere silence. Then Cody's voice returns. I can't continue to play this charade, Robin, the voice says. The others believe they're still in this, but we know the reality. After we sell the Coyote Pass plots and consolidate the proceeds into the Arizona Trust, it's over. They'll be gone for good. There is a pause, then Robin's voice comes back in a gentle tone. But what about Mary? She hasn't spoken much lately. She won't struggle with me, Cody answers flatly. She never does. The whole courtroom gasps at once. The noise is crisp, unified like a gasp that tears through quiet. Mary's lips purse. She doesn't weep. She merely mutters to herself, not anymore. Christine looks at her and offers a slight, knowing nod, an unspoken sharing of hurt and comprehension. Janelle clutches her necklace and tears well up in her eyes. Robin hides her face in her hands. The judge allows the video to finish. Cody's voice sounds once more level and self-assured. Once we own everything, we can begin again. The rest of them, they'll thank me someday. The screen goes dark. Nobody breathes. The stillness is so thick that it feels like weight. Cody's attorney coughs, attempting to catch his breath. Your Honor, would like to confirm the validity of this material. But Judge Hammonds doesn't wait. Brown, your voice has been taped twice now, once during a business conversation and once during a personal admission. Both directly place you at issue on fraud intent. You can confirm all you wish, but this court is not blind. Cody opens his lips, but there is nothing to say. He knows she is correct. Mary leans forward at a slight angle, her voice calm and smooth. You wanted to control everything, Cody. But the truth has a way of controlling you. Her voice isn't angry. It's even tender. And for some reason that hurts even more. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't fury. It's silence that finally gets a word in. The judge takes a slow breath. Mrs. Brown, thank you for your testimony. Please be available for cross-examination. Mary exits the stand, striding past Cody. For an instant second, they're inches from each other. The man who once referred to her as his soulmate, and the woman who had to rebuild herself from what he destroyed. He grumbles under his breath, "You were supposed to protect me." Mary glances long enough to answer, her voice soft but firm. "No, Cody. I was meant to love you. You made that impossible." Christine takes a shaky breath. Janelle breathes, "It's over, isn't it?" But the judge has not adjourned. She faces Cody. "Brown, tomorrow this case shifts into criminal proceedings, unless you have a statement changing the record." He pauses. His lips purse but nothing escapes. Robin holds onto his arm so tightly. "Say something. Tell them it wasn't true." He wrenches his arm from her. "You think this is my fault? You bullied me into it." The courtroom comes to a standstill. Robin gapes at him in horror. "Excuse me?" The judge interjects sharply, but Cody continues, shaking. "She wanted the mansion. She wanted the trust. I explained to her that we couldn't transfer the money, but she persisted. She threatened to lose the house." Robin's mouth falls open. "You lie!" She cries out, grabbing at him before her lawyer reclaims her arm. The courtroom explodes. Reporters take furious notes, guards step forward, and the judge bangs her gavel repeatedly. "Order! Order in this court!" But it's too late. The Brown family, once locked together on TV for a nation of viewers, is now disintegrating before our eyes. Right in a federal court. When loyalty unravels, truth doesn't mend. It detonates. The judge finally puts an end to the commotion. Court will reconvene tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp. Both sides will collect themselves. We will consider the audit report of the estate. Cody falls into his chair, gazing blankly at the floor. Robin is sobbing, shaking her head. "You promised me. You said it would be fine." Mary passes by her without glancing. Christine and Janelle are behind her. Christine whispers, "Tomorrow's the day." Mary inclines her head. Yes, the day he finally confronts what he's done. The courtroom vacates, but Cody sits, unmoving. The lights grow low over him. Under his breath, he whispers, "They can't take it all. They can't." Outside, the world already knows. The audit of the estate has been submitted, and numbers don't lie. The following morning begins before dawn. News vans line the courthouse parking lot. Reporters practice their lines in front of cameras, the words "Brown family financial scandal" emblazoned on screens behind them. Inside, security is more cramped than ever. Everybody can sense it. Something is about to break big. Mary, Christine, and Janelle sit in silence. Their faces are serene but firm. Christine has hold of Janelle's hand. Mary doesn't speak, her gaze on the courtroom doors. Cody and Robin come separately. He comes in first, dark suit, slumped shoulders, stubble, exhausted of everything save weariness. Robin comes a few minutes later, sunglasses on in the building, holding a bulging leather purse as if it is the sole thing supporting her. The judge enters. "This morning," she starts, "we will examine the complete audit report of the Brown Family Trust, including all business transactions and personal transfers between 2018 and 2023. The results were presented by an independent forensic accounting firm, commissioned by this court." She glances directly at Cody. "Brown, Mrs. Brown, you might want to prepare yourselves." A young financial analyst steps up to the stand. Nervous but steady. "My name is Kevin Adler. I've conducted forensic investigations in 29 estate fraud cases, including several involving family trusts with multiple beneficiaries. The Brown Trust, however, was unique. The judge nods. Proceed. Kevin clicks a button, and the courtroom screen lights up with spreadsheets. Rows of wire transfers flagged withdrawals, account merges, and offshore transactions. In all, Kevin continues, the Brown family trust was worth about $4.3 million before expenses. Between April of 2020 and October of 2022, we found $1.74 million in suspicious transfers. Gasps ring through the room. Christina's eyes open wide. Janelle puts her hand to her mouth. Mary's fist tightens around the frame of her seat. This is no longer missing money. This is proof of a precision-crafted deception. Kevin goes on. These transfers flowed through 4 shell LLCs, none of which were reported to the other beneficiaries of the trust. 3 are in Nevada, 1 in Wyoming. He clicks once more. The screen jumps to show a document header. Name on file R. Brown. Robin's tissue drops from her hand. Her eyes widen as she whispers, "No, that's not mine. That's not." The whispers ripple across the room. Kevin goes on, firm and unwavering. This next document reveals the formation of Arizona Home Holdings LLC on April 4, 2021. The signature on record is a stylized cursive signature that Robin Brown also used in earlier legal documents. The paper on screen bears the seal of notarization, its ink stamped like the finishing blow. Robin's attorney stands up at once. "Objection, Your Honor. This doesn't establish criminal intent." Overruled. Judge Hammond snaps. "Let the witness continue." Kevin doesn't flinch. "The most incriminating connection is this," he goes on, his voice unwavering. "A $300,000 transfer taken directly out of the Brown Family Education Fund, funds specifically for the children's college education, was transferred into the Arizona Home Holdings account within 12 hours of the account's opening." The room gasps. Christina's voice breaks the silence. "That money, that was for Truly and Daton's college." Her words quiver through the air. Robin sits motionless, hollow, staring straight ahead. Cody speaks under his breath, his words too faint to hear. "You said it was temporary. You said you'd put it back." The words stay suspended in the air like poison. It's not theft anymore. It's a betrayal that had a purpose behind it, and a cover-up. Kevin pushes on. "We also found purchases made from this same account. A $24,000 chandelier, $52,000 for designer furniture, and almost $88,000 in untraceable cash withdrawals under consulting fees." Christina's chair scrapes the floor as she comes to her feet. "That's why you needed me out of the house," she yells. "That's why you told me to leave, so you could bleed it all dry without my seeing." Robin's voice breaks. "I didn't know it was from the education fund. Cody said it was from book royalties, bonus pay." Cody's face sets. "Don't you put this on me." "Oh, really?" Robin fires back. "You mean the section where you said, and I quote, 'They'll never check to see if it's been listed as home improvements'? You mean that part?" The judge bangs the gavel. "Enough. This is not a shouting match." She faces Kevin. "Do you have anything else?" Kevin gives a single nod, the burden of what's coming obvious in his eyes. "One last document," he speaks softly. He taps the screen once more. The lights in the courtroom fade slightly, and a new file opens. Modified Trust Beneficiary List, March 2022. The silence that comes afterward is choking. Only 2 names show up. Robin Brown. Cody Brown. No Mary. No Christine. No Janelle. None of the children. Just them. It's a knife masquerading as paperwork. A betrayal scripted with digital ink. Janelle stands from her chair, voice trembling with shock. "You took the kids out of the trust?" Robin's head moves back and forth wildly. "No, I didn't sign that. I didn't." Kevin breaks in quietly but firmly. Digital authentication verifies Cody and Robin Brown signed this copy. The filing employed Robin's 2-factor authentication. The courtroom erupts into chaos. Reporters dash to the doors. Cameras begin twirling their live streams. Robin slumps over the bench, crying hysterically. Cody simply sits, white and vacant, as if all of the color has been bleached from his life. Christina's voice slices through the din, a whisper full of anger. "You were willing to wipe out your own children." Mary doesn't answer initially. She stands and moves slowly towards the screen, looking at those 2 names. Just 2. When she finally looks back, her voice is not loud but it is not breakable. All those years I spent practicing believing you were still the man I married, she tells him. All those birthdays, holidays, therapy appointments, trying to repair someone who had already replaced me. You didn't just ruin a family. You eliminated one. Her words are a verdict before the judge utters one. There are no more secrets left, she goes on. Only fallout. And no apology can rebuild what you shattered. Judge Hammonds demands silence, her voice firm but exhausted. This court will recess. When we return, we will begin transitioning this matter to the State Fraud Department for criminal prosecution. I strongly advise both defendants to seek separate counsel. Robin cries openly now. Cody does not stir. Christine, Janelle, and Mary exit together. No smiles, no tears, just strength. Outside, the media throngs like a tornado. Christine, how are you? Is Cody headed to jail? Robin, were you aware that the children were taken out of the trust? None of them respond. The family they once knew does not exist anymore. By day 4 of the trial, even the air itself is more oppressive. A mere civil squabble has erupted into a full-fledged criminal inquiry. And just when all hope seems to be at an end, a court clerk swiftly approaches the bench, holding in her hand a sealed envelope labeled affidavit, confidential witness. The judge's brow creases as she opens it. Her face changes, surprise at first followed by worry. It seems, she says guardedly, we have a new witness filing. The court will now hear from Dayton Brown. A shiver runs through the gallery like an electric shock. Robin's head whips up. No, she breathes. No, he wouldn't. But the door swings open and there is he. Dayton Brown, tall, grown, nervous but determined, moving towards the witness stand. His hands are shaking a little but he keeps going. Robin leans in close to Cody, whispering desperately. Stop this. Stop him. Cody doesn't budge. Sometimes the truth comes in with the face of someone you never thought would show up. Dayton sits down, his tone low but firm. I didn't want to do this, he starts. But after seeing everything this week, I found that silence was killing us all. The judge nods softly. You're safe here, Mr. Brown. Keep going. He opens a tiny laptop. I have recordings. Ones I recorded at home in the Flagstaff house. The courtroom is filled with stunned whispers. Robin sits upright. Dayton, turn that off. You don't understand. Sit down, Mrs. Brown, the judge says. Christina's eyes go wide. Mary mutters under her breath, he taped them. Dayton plays it back. The video is fuzzy, the shot awkward, a desk camera. A hallway appears. Voices ring out clearly, Robin's and Cody's. Robin says they'll never know. The trust says children, right? Aurora and Brianna are children. The others left. They don't count anymore. Cody's voice comes next, laid back and merciless. You think Janelle's going to fight it? She can't even afford a lawyer. They both laugh. Christine puts her hand over her mouth. The judge halts the playback. The courtroom falls silent. Daton's voice breaks. I grew up in that house. I heard it all. I saw what it did to my mom. I believed they had reasons. But when they spent the money from the education fund on things like a pool installation and then told us we couldn't afford to go to college, I knew it was wrong. The trial has nothing to do with money anymore. It's about betrayal of trust, of futures, of family. Dayton rummages in his bag and produces a USB drive. This one, he whispers, is from when my mom left. He glares at Cody. She didn't leave. She was pushed. The clip starts. Cody's voice once more. Let her go. She's done. Just ensure the lawyer sends that paperwork before she becomes aware the land was reassigned. Robin's voice comes next. It's not like she reads anything. She just signs to keep the peace. Mary's eyes well up with tears, but this time they don't break her. They remind everyone in that room why she fought. Christine turns to Robin, her voice low but unbreakable. You were right to leave, she says. The judge pauses, setting her pen down. Silence fills the room. Then with a deep breath, she removes her glasses. I've seen enough, she declares. This court will now begin formal criminal proceedings against Cody Brown and Robin Brown for the fraudulent use of protected funds, perjury under oath, and the deliberate exclusion of rightful beneficiaries in a registered family trust. Gasps circulate through the courtroom. Robin's face pales before she falls back, fainting in her seat. The bailiff is by her side as pandemonium breaks out. In seconds she's awake again and shrieks, "You can't do this to me. This is my family too." But her words fall flat now. Because everyone in that room knows, it wasn't her family she was defending. It was herself. This is not merely the dissolution of a marriage. It's the public stripping away of everything the Brown family pretended to be. Cody hangs his head, defeated, voice shaking. "They were supposed to follow me," he whispers. "I was doing what was best." Mary approaches. She is holding a worn-out family picture. 2011, before the show, before Flagstaff, before everything broke. 4 wives, 1 husband, 17 children. She places it on the witness stand. "We did follow you," she whispers. "We believed in you. And you sold that for chandeliers and lies." The courtroom does not applaud, but something shifts. The air itself lightens, as if truth had at last forced entry. Christina's eyes well with tears. Janelle mouths, "Thank you, Dayton." Judge Hammond stands up. This court is adjourned pending sentencing procedures. All parties will be notified within 72 hours. Her gavel comes down with finality. Court dismissed. But nobody gets up. The quiet hangs around like a phantom. Even when truth triumphs, suffering lingers. Outside, the media circus rolls on. Journalists yell over each other. "Dayton, why now?" "Mary, will you rebuild?" "Cody, are you going to prison?" No one responds. Mary hugs Dayton, the first time in years. Christine and Janelle exit side by side. No longer victims, but survivors who had changed pain into proof. And Cody? He exits alone. No cameras trail. No wives wait. Only the sound of the heavy door slamming shut behind him, and the ringing of each lie that had led him there. But even as the world breathed a collective sigh, a more sinister storm is gathering. A new sense of tension pervades the air. A rumor spreading quicker than news headlines. A federal van parked outside Cody's former Wyoming office. Examiners going in and out of his Flagstaff tax attorney's office. And one phrase passing like thunder preceding a storm. Federal charges. The day after, the courtroom is different, colder, denser, almost charged. It's no longer a family tragedy. It's a national scandal. Judge Hammonds enters the bench with a stern, exhausted voice. "Before we proceed with sentencing," she states, "this court has been made aware of an ongoing, concurrent investigation commenced by the U. Department of Justice." Christine gasps. Mary whispers, "It's happening." When you construct an empire out of secrets, sooner or later the foundation collapses, and when it does, the government is knocking. A clerk hurries forward, dumping a fat sheaf of papers stamped in red onto the judge's desk. DOJ Financial Crimes Task Force. Request for sealed testimony. The judge glares at Cody. "Brown, do you have legal representation for federal issues currently?" He blanks, uncertain. "I don't know. I recommend that you locate one," she tells him bluntly. Then she addresses Robin. "Mrs. Brown, the federal team has asked that you and your daughters, Aurora and Brianna, have sealed interviews. You are not arrested at the moment, but you are a subject of interest." Robin's eyes go wide. "Not them. Don't involve them in this." "Then you should have," the judge tells him, her voice slicing the air like glass. Christina's attorney stands. "Your Honor, we have a new witness who is willing to come in and testify under oath. She wasn't originally included in the filing but did come forward after going over the case with Mrs. Janelle Brown." The judge inclines his head. "Go on. Who is this witness?" The side door swings open. The whole courtroom looks. McKelty Padron enters, Christina's daughter, Cody's child. Pregnant, poised and unflinching calm. Robin murmurs under her breath. "No, she was on our side." Cody closes his eyes, dread washing over him. "Miss Padron," the judge says, "you understand you're under oath?" "Yes, Your Honor," McKelty answers. Her voice is steady, the kind that silences a room. "I stayed with my dad and Robin during my first pregnancy," she starts. "I noticed everything, the paperwork, the tension, the way Mom was excluded, the way Mary's name fell off documents. I noticed Janelle's checks going to another place. And one time, I noticed something worse." She opens her phone. "I photographed them," she whispers. "I wasn't allowed to, but I had this feeling that I might be needing them." She touches her screen, and the courtroom screens glow with an image. A PDF called Property Ownership Transfer Authorization. Flagstaff Estate, Lot B. The signature is Mary Brown. Gasps fill the air. Mary's face goes white. I knew it wasn't right, McKelty goes on. Because I've seen my mom's actual signature my entire life. That one isn't hers. The judge studies the photograph. Mrs. Brown, do you affirm this is not your signature? Mary nods, her voice shaking. I never signed that form. Ever. The judge turns to the bailiff. Take that document into evidence and call the notary named. I want a statement before noon. Cody erupts, yelling across the courtroom. This is all about revenge. You disliked Robin in the first place, now you're playing victims. Christine takes a deep breath. You made us victims, Cody. We're just presenting the receipts. You can deceive the world, but you cannot deceive your children. Because someday they grow up and remember. The gavel comes down forcefully. Brown, one more outburst and you'll be in contempt. Cody slumps back in his chair, defeated. Robin shakes with tears, just keeping her facade of composure intact. The judge's eyes bore into her. Mrs. Brown, prior to sentencing, the court has received one last piece of evidence, a ledger from your interior design company, Robin's Reflections. Christine whispers to Janelle, oh no. Mary grumbles under her breath, the $1.2 million decor audit. The judge reads from the report. From 2020 through 2023, this company accepted more than $1.2 million in transfers from the Arizona Home Holdings account, the same shell company that the Brown family trust paid for. Robin dissolves into tears, crying into her hands. I didn't know. I thought it came from our account. Cody told me it was a gift. Christina's voice rises above her sobs. A gift? You took our kid's future and spent it on throw pillows. The judge's voice becomes stern, imperative. Mrs. Brown, this court holds that you benefited fraudulently by way of transfers, and did not disclose or report them. You are to be remanded for further federal consideration. The courtroom goes silent. Cody remains unmoving. Robin cries softly as bailiffs move towards her. These people have spent years living before television cameras, peddling the act of love and unity. But on this day, no cameras are rolling, and the truth finally had the last word. Robin's body slumped over in her chair as the judge gave her words that sentenced her. You will be held financially responsible pending the outcome of the federal investigation. The courtroom fell silent. Aurora, who was seated in the gallery, suddenly ran forward, crying tears down her face. Stop this. She's not a criminal, she shouted. The bailiff stood in her way, firmly but kindly. Mary stood up slowly, her tone even but harsh enough to cut through the tension. She may not be a criminal yet, she said, but she was never innocent. That single sentence, cold as ice and as clear as day and night, pushed Robin over the edge. Cameras captured her completely losing it, yelling in between her tears, I didn't want to do this by myself. He forced me. Cody, however, never batted an eyelash. For the first time in his entire life, nobody was hearing him out anymore. The judge adjourned for recess. Final sentencing would be the following morning. But no one was permitted to depart before the clerk of court came up to the bench with a sealed envelope. Judge Hammonds read it in silence, her face growing grim. This court has just received a notice from the Internal Revenue Service, she declared. The joint tax returns of Cody and Robin Brown for the years 2019 through 2022 are being reviewed. Christine leaned over toward Janelle, her voice barely above a whisper, they're done. Janelle nodded. And now they're laid bare. The courtroom was thick with silence, the air itself seeming reluctant to stir. Only the occasional rustle of papers and the cadence of the judge's pen broke into the hush. For days the court had stripped away layers of lies, greed, and betrayal. But this was different. This was the reckoning. And before the sentencing, there would be one final round of testimony that would destroy what little was left of the Browns' defense. The name on the next witness list turned every head. Isabel Brown. Christina's daughter. Cody's child. The one who had remained silent all along. Until now. The doors swung open and Isabel moved in, serene, unruffled, her blonde hair pulled back, a dark burgundy coat slung over her shoulders. A slender white folder in her hand. Cody's eyes went wide. For the first time during this whole trial, he didn't just appear guilty, he appeared scared. Christina's fingers shook as she saw her daughter approach the stand. She wasn't the shy girl she used to know. Isabel wasn't here as a daughter anymore. She was here as a witness, as one who had experienced the repercussions. Judge Hammonds coughed. Miss Brown, do you comprehend that you are under oath? Yes, Your Honor, Isabel replied, her voice steady. You may proceed. Isabel never opened her notes. She didn't have to. I'm here to tell you what it's like to be collateral damage, she started quietly. Not in terms of money, in love. In family. In care. Cody shifted uncomfortably in his chair. His attorney attempted to nudge him to remain silent. In 2020, Isabel went on, I was diagnosed with a severe case of scoliosis. The doctors told me I had to have surgery out of state. My mom was with me for every appointment, every sleepless night. She held my hand through it all. But my dad. She hesitated and spoke to Cody. He said he couldn't come. Said it was too dangerous, too costly, too complicated with the COVID restrictions. But I will never forget what he said the evening before my flight. She smoothed out a tiny wrinkled piece of paper. May I read it, Your Honor? You may, the judge said. Isabel's voice broke as she read. Isabel, I'm sorry. I just can't make it work. Robin doesn't feel comfortable with me leaving. I'll call you when you arrive. You're strong. You don't need me to be there. She gazed up, eyes shining. That week, he purchased new patio furniture for Robin's residence. $7,000. It's in the audit report. The courtroom shifted in Cody's direction. His head was lowered, but the guilt was etched on his face. Mary was pale. Christina's fingers compressed around the lip of the bench. I needed a father, Isabel went on, her voice level once more. Instead, I got one who treated his children like business expenses. One who regarded feelings as nuisances and children as pawns. I'm not here for revenge, she concluded. I'm here because I want the record to reflect that money won't repair what is broken when a child discovers her father had worked to safeguard another's ease over her suffering. The courtroom stopped. Her statement had the impact of a silent bombshell. No anger, no tears, just naked reality. Judge Hammonds paused for a moment, then nodded. Thank you, Miss Brown. Your testimony will be entered into the record as part of emotional damages. Isabel descended, her hands trembling a little, but her face serene. Cody hunched toward his attorney, saying something in a desperate whisper. The attorney shook his head. There was nothing to be saved. The judge signaled to the clerk. Read the last report of the IRS liaison. A sharply dressed woman in her 40s approached the stand, her badge glinting under the lights. Your Honor, she began, I represent the Federal Revenue Enforcement Division. After reviewing the Browns' tax filings between 2019 and 2022, we found multiple irregularities. She pulled open a manila folder and read out loud. More than $420,000 in unreported income in shell companies. Almost $118,000 in fabricated write-offs for business purposes. All spent on personal expenses. And a $45,000 deduction in 2021 as college scholarships for kids. No such payments ever existed. Christine caught her breath. That was Truly's college year, she breathed. The agent nodded. None of the children were awarded the scholarship. The money was transferred to an account titled Coyote Holdings RR, handled by Robin Brown. Robin's voice cracked as she whispered, I didn't know, as if it was a prayer no one believed in. No one took her hand. Not even Cody. The agent shut her folder. Based on these discoveries, this case will be referred for further federal review. Possible charges include tax evasion, false returns, and abuse of dependent deductions. Judge Hammonds leaned back, exhaling a sigh. This trial has been a roadmap of what occurs when power, money, and love are distorted beyond recognition. She looked toward Cody and Robin. We will start sentencing tomorrow at 9 a.m. But before she could stand, Christine stood. Your Honor, she whispered, may I say something once more? The judge paused, then inclined his head. You may. Christine advanced, her voice shaking but her eyes unshaken. The courtroom was heavier than ever. Not out of fear but out of truth finally being set free. They'd lived in the fantasy of it all for years. A family united by faith, by love, by choice. But the truth? It was only sustained because one man lived to keep everyone apart. Christine addressed Robin, her words firm and cold. You played your role as well, she said. You utilized your tears, your access, your kids, and while the rest of us were falling apart, you were cashing in on the fall. And she moved to face Cody, her stare glass-like. You did not lose this family, she said. You sold it. The words landed like a gavel, clean, final, irrefutable. The judge banged hers once. Court is adjourned until tomorrow for final sentencing. Brown, she said calmly, I recommend that you get some rest. You're going to need it. Photographers and reporters followed as individuals streamed out. Cody, what do you say to your daughter's testimony? Robin, will you be doing federal time? Mary, do you feel vindicated? But they didn't respond. Because for once it was not about what they had to say, it was about what they'd stopped keeping secret. Cody remained behind, alone at the defense table, looking at the seat where his daughter Isabel had been. At one time that seat was occupied by his little girl. Now it was occupied by his legacy, and by her absence. The following morning, Flagstaff awoke to a chill that was more than in the air. It was verdict day. The line outside the courthouse curled around the block. Cameras flashed like lightning bolts. News anchors stood in front of vans, microphones at the ready, headlines already rolling. Brown family verdict, the end of an era. Silence within. Even the reporters didn't dare breathe too hard. All eyes were fixed on the same two individuals, Cody and Robin. Cody sat stiffly, fingers entwined, eyes on the floor. The individual who had always succeeded at being in command was now a person defeated by the magnitude of his own decisions. Robin sat next to him, a wad of tissues shoved into her sleeves, one shaking hand holding a small locket, a family portrait within, one that conveniently didn't feature Christine, Mary, or Janelle. Because this courtroom wasn't about unity anymore. It was about accountability. At exactly 9 o'clock, Judge Hammonds entered. Good morning, she said, her tone firm. This court is prepared to deliver its ruling in the matter of Brown et al. Versus Brown and related fraud proceedings. Let me remind everyone. This courtroom is not a stage. The verdict will reflect one thing only. The law. Then she began reading. In the civil fraud case, this court finds that Mr. Cody Brown fraudulently diverted more than $1.7 million from a jointly owned family trust, hid money in limited liability corporations, and created fake documents for personal benefit. Cody did not budge. In the case of Mrs. Robin Sullivan Brown, she went on, the court concludes that you knowingly profited from those transactions, withheld your interests, and manipulated access to documents in order to conceal assets from the other beneficiaries. Robin's subdued sobbing filled the room, but she did not interrupt. Judge Hammonds adjusted her glasses. This is what accountability is, she said quietly. When the cameras leave and all that remain are consequences. She addressed Cody. Brown, you are hereby directed to pay $1.2 million in restitution to the initial Brown Trust beneficiaries, Christine Brown, Janelle Brown, and Mary Brown. You are required to sell off any assets you obtain through fraud and pay a 28% penalty fee, according to Arizona's fraud statute. Mary put her hand over her mouth. Janelle let out a sigh, not in victory but in relief. Christine muttered under her breath, finally. Because sometimes justice doesn't roar. It exhales. The judge looked over at Robin. You are ordered to relinquish $430,000 in money deposited into your individual LLC and design firm. You will also give up ownership of the Flagstaff mansion within 30 days, unless restitution is made in full. Robin's tears burst through her words. But what about my kids? The judge didn't bat an eye. You can apply for housing benefits like every other citizen. This court isn't giving back homes bought with ill-gotten gains. The courtroom fell silent. Then the coup de grace. This court is referring both defendants to the U.S. Attorney's Office for federal consideration on charges of tax evasion and unlawful use of dependent deductions. If accepted, these charges will move forward within 90 days. Cody last spoke, his voice breaking beneath the weight of all that he had lost. You don't understand, he said. I was defending them. The judge examined him coolly. No, Mr. Brown. You were defending yourself. She pounded the gavel. Court is adjourned. The commotion that came after was not chaos. It was liberation. Cameras popped as Christine and Isabel exited the courthouse together, holding hands. Janelle brought up the rear, giving a brief, determined nod to the press. Mary accompanied them, face serene, steps firm. And Cody? He slipped out the back, past the flashing lights, where only a single federal agent waited. The man handed him a sealed envelope. Cody took it without a word and climbed into a waiting car. No cameras followed. No fans cheered. Just the soft click of the door and the silence that comes when every lie you've told finally runs out of breath. In the parking lot, Mary, Janelle, and Christine stood finally together. Christine smiled weakly. "We're free," she said. Janelle nodded, tears shining. Mary gazed out toward the courthouse steps. "He thought we were his legacy," she said softly. "Turns out we were his undoing." Before the cameras could catch up with them once again, they were gone. Not as sister wives, but as survivors. And as millions of viewers sat in their living rooms across the globe, one thing became clear. This was not the end of the Brown family. This was just the start of their freedom. So tell me, did you believe justice had finally been served for Christine, Mary, and Janelle? Or does Cody and Robin owe them yet another reckoning? Let us know in the comments.